Hello, and welcome back to another RiftGuides WildRift video. Today we are going to spectate Nova Long, one of the highest rated players on the Chinese server, participated in WildRift Icons, which is basically the world championship for WildRift, and he is playing the newly buffed Aatrox, and there are a few things we have to talk about when it comes to his gameplay. Let's start first with the runes. First, the standard thing, there's not much special about this one, about Conquer is all pretty normal, and we have sudden impact because most of the time in the jungle role, Aatrox will go Yumu's Ghostblade. This is simply due to the fact that Aatrox is a very snowbally champion, which is either a hit or a miss. And to make sure you're even stronger on your first item spike, which then is Yumu's Ghostblade in most of the times, which gives you 15 pen, the sudden impact grants you another 13 pen, which is then 28 pen, which is a lot of damage. Another thing many people don't know about is empowered attack. So for example, this rune here, Mark of the Week, is completely useless. Whenever you check the damage numbers of this rune, it's cosmically low. It also doesn't help you with jungle clearing. However, empowered attack does. It helps you with jungle clearing, and it helps you in skirmishes, because this spell, or this rune, comes up every 10 seconds. Eyeball Collector, pretty self-explanatory, and Overgrowth as a jungler, just a lovely thing to have. And now let's take a quick look at this video game. We have Aatrox against Kai'Sa. If this game goes into the later stages of the game, the Kai'Sa will just run circles around the Aatrox and kill him. But if the Aatrox gets ahead, well, you best believe that this lovely AD carry just dies in an instant. And now, let's take a good look at how he plays. Here he starts with the red buff. This is something that some junglers like to do because it's easier for them to sync up their camp respawn, which you will see on the second camp respawn after. You will not see such a huge cooldown between red and Crux, but a faster transition time. So far, we have seen nothing special here. He sees the ward there. He will try to do his best to avoid being seen by the ward, hugging the left wall. Everything clearly normal, using his third ability as a gap closer, as good as possible using his first ability to the edges of the first ability by just leashing them to just save time. We'll also see him probably allocate another point in his first ability, to just increase his clear speed. Here we see just instantly casting his third ability to just be faster, and you also see him just using his first ability. The sweet spots here don't really matter, because he just wants to cast it as fast as possible. Transitioning towards the blue buff, you see typical full clear, just getting as strong as possible. Here you can use the buff's animation lock whenever the buff attacks you, it stuns itself basically, and you can use it to your advantage. You also see here, he doesn't feel the need to instantly go there because he knows he can't change anything. So he rather completes his full clear, goes for the crab, which then gets him level 5, and after level 5 he can choose, is there a play on the map or does he reset for a power spike, which in this instance is going to be for Gluttonous Greaves. Nothing happening on the map, he pings bot lane danger, now he gets his power spike, Gluttonous Greaves, with his ultimate he'll be absolutely rapid, his bot lane is having some issues, he selects the Yumu's Ghostblade, and he's ready to rumble. Now on the minimap, soon before he arrives, you will see, or after he arrives, that the Kruk camp will be closer to respawning than usual. But you see, he passes through the areas, he walks into the river, he has downtime right now, he checks every single angle if there's an enemy, he spots an enemy recalling, he uses his enemy as a vision plant basically, and then he hopes that the waves comes in fast enough to cancel the enemy, but he just has enough, he pops his ult, goes in, insta-kills the person, and now the best play available is just going back to his jungle. He doesn't have ult for another 55 seconds, so he wants to make sure to spend this time well farming. You see, his camp have respawned, and the Crux respawn early enough so he can now go to his chicken camp. And then from his chicken camp he goes back to his red buff. Because these two camps are the most valuable camps for overgrowth junglers. But don't worry, if you're a super fast clearing champion that is primarily around full clearing and fast clearing, you can also just start with Crux. It doesn't really matter too much. So from my perspective, he's now gonna clear his jungle fully again, then he might look for a play on the other side of the map. And if that doesn't work out, he just recalls for item spike. Like here, killing the Gromp, it wouldn't surprise me if they just dive the Darius 100-0 with the power of the set, because you can just simply do this. He doesn't pop the plant, so the enemy doesn't know. Set ults him away, like into his teammate. The enemy Twisted Fate is rotating on a level 5 play, but they're all lining up. This could be a hit or miss play. The Akali arrives late and goes in for a quick play, but the Aatrox now has to go into the river for the river plant and the Scuttle Crab, because the Scuttler and the river plant fully heal up the Aatrox. Well, not fully, but just a lot, right? And there's not much to lose anymore. With the Scuttler taken away, he can now focus on his blue buff, which the enemy should know about, but probably are too afraid to do anything, but they should know about this happening. Yeah, and there they are. He's very close to his biggest power spike, the Yuma's Ghostblade, but in this instance, he has 2 assassin item components, and now what's his decision? Will he play for Herald or will he play for Dragon? I really hope he plays for Herald, because, well, Dragon, well, it is just a dragon after all, so I'm really curious if he wants to contest and fight this. He just sent a voice message, or whatever he wants to do, because he believes he's stronger. But I believe losing Herald is just one of the biggest losses you can basically get. Or maybe he believes that he can just go for both, simply for the fact that they have vision on the Herald, and Kai'Sa is not the fastest at taking objectives after she got nerfed on her Q. Because now you see he's transitioning towards the Herald again. Yuumi is buffing him up. There's just no way that the enemy survives this encounter. So yeah, as assumed, was a play for both at the same time. He gets both as well, very beautiful. He just chases down the Darius, free kill here, and then we'll probably see a Herald on mid lane. I really hope he doesn't place it on top lane, because it doesn't really give him too much. But yeah, the Yuumi on his back, just carrying him to victory. Now, pillaging the enemy jungle for free. Really curious, does he place the Herald, or does he just go for platings? I think he should just go for platings, and then he resets with the Herald power, and then walks mid lane again. See, very, very good here. He doesn't use the Herald for this because he knows he doesn't have to. He just gets the gold for free. And he wants to utilize the Herald's recall to get back onto the map faster, which he can then do, and then he can break open the bot lane for his teammates, or the mid lane. I assume he will go for the mid lane, because for Twisted Fate to play into an Akali Aatrox, it is borderline impossible without a mid lane tower. He waits for the lovely cat to attach. Come on, little catto. There we go. You see, he even looked at the mid lane tower for a second, which tells me that he will be going there the moment he cleared at least his red buff and maybe the chicken camp. Because now there's a timer, like 7:30 is the timer for platings, and he really wants to get that one. Pop the Herald, leave away. Now looking for a dive here, because this tower will be dead. He'll pop ult and instantly, yep, there he goes. The enemy bot lane didn't think about this, and they're gone. So Twisted Fate appears, gets stun carded, and another contestant walks up too closely and just gets absolutely blown up. Like, you see, a fat Aatrox into squishy champions is absolutely broken, especially with a Yuumi on your back. And now he wants the pentakill. He wants it. He desperately craves it, and it doesn't work out. It's a Saja mode. Now, nothing happening on the map. He pillaged the enemy jungle earlier, so there's not much to pillage right now, and the Akali's already doing the chicken camp. So he's just going back to his own jungle camps, fully clearing this, and probably after the wolf camp he resets for an item spike. After this item spike, he might even go for an invade on the enemy blue buff, and we will see what he does. But I assume he just recalls, buys item, and then goes to the enemy blue buff. He probably also should think about getting a QSS this game, because it's the only thing that can potentially stop him, I think. Alternatively, stasis is never a bad idea against the Darius. Enemy bot side, at least blue buff being taken. He is super fast on the map thanks to the power of Yumos. Pops the ultimate, yeets at the Twisted Fate, gets stun guarded, but the Yuumi just veiled this and he got completely denied. One of the things I'm kind of confused about is why he never touches waves. Or why he walked back into his own jungle here instead of just going for another wave, and now another wave. Because he saw the enemy on the opposing side going for a play, and he's basically just being inefficient with time. And the wave that is running into the bot tier 2 tower will be stacking up, and the enemy team will gain more gold for free, and somebody else has to deal with this. So this is something I think is a slight mistake, which could have been done better, because the enemy would have then lost the wave to the tower, and they would have had no extra gold income. Now he's chilling here, the yoinks the Akali, the Grump, lovely, goes back to his red buff, waits for his lovely cat to attach to him, getting back to the red buff, and the enemy team seems to appear very much tilted. Seeing the Baron laner holding hands with the AD carry is a rare thing to see. And does he fully commit for more armor pen? Does he go for percentage armor pen now? Okay, he does. Okay, quick explanation to all of you. Let's pause for a second. Okay. He currently has 13 pen from Sudden Impact. He has 15 from Yomos. So let's say the enemy has 80 armor, and currently he's level 12, so I think Last Whisper does about 27% armor reduction. So if you do some quick maths, just do it quickly in your brain, 10% of 80 is 8, so we do it twice, so we have already 16. Then we have some left over, so we have 20 plus armor pen from the fully completed armor pen item. So, which means we reduce the enemy's armor by over 20 plus 15 plus 13. That is such a massive damage increase, even against squishier targets, because this percentage pen will be more powerful than another flat pen item, simply for the fact that it grants you so much pen. And then you get closer to potential values that are similar to 0. And the moment you have armor pen to that degree, where the enemy armor is like 0 to 10, you see how much damage difference that actually makes. It is quite insane how much damage it does. Now, back into the game. Second dragon is spawning. The enemy has no hopes of fighting anything. He spots the enemy blue buff being taken. He just one-steps this. The Yuumi is getting a little bit too heated and too overzealous. And this is one of the moments where they could lose if they went in for fun. Like, if he went for this, let's just go back in time. Like, in his brain, he wants to quickly yeet the enemy blue buff and then leave, right? The only person that can lock him down is the Twisted Fate mid lane, so nothing can happen to him. Worst case, he press ult and yeets away. But here, the Yuumi gets the wrong idea and starts doing this. Like, right now, this is the only moment where he can mess up to such a degree where it's a game-losing mistake given an enemy carry, like 1000 gold, plus the Yuumi on top. So the Yuumi gets a little bit overzealous here. He just stays cool, calm, and collected, and yeets away. Not a big problem. He keeps his ultimate, and the only way he can be stopped is the Twisted Fate. With all this in mind, the Janna walks up for whatever reason. I don't really understand why. Twisted Fate ults in. He's being patient. He waits for the moment. He probably pops his ult very soon, but he wants to secure this dragon first. He gets the dragon, but he keeps his space. Now the enemy started fighting with another person. Like, he sees cooldowns being used, he pops ultimate, and he yeets in. You see the damage he does? That was a 947 Q3 hit. Completely blown up. A fat Aatrox is lovely to see. But yeah, it's all about getting consistently fat on Aatrox, which is, fairly speaking, outside of solo queue, not happening too many times, and Aatrox usually isn't that infamous for carrying games. And he goes for even more damage. He realizes he already has so much pen. Buying Caulfield's Hammer, like the CDR item, is a mistake, so he rather wants to go for a straight Dirk for more armor pen, which then again brings him closer to dealing actual true damage to people. And as you've seen, his first ability, like the third charge, dealt 947 or 37 damage to the Kai'Sa. So you see, if you take away like 15% damage of that one because of armor, it's quite a sizable number. And if he adds like 100 damage to it, because he deals true damage to her, it is quite high. He lost the Scuttle Crab, true pain. And again, he can basically do whatever he wants. He goes for free picks, he finds somebody, the Yuumi pops ultimate, goes in. The enemy can't really do anything to him. Twisted Fate isn't here, so he's still rather safe, but still. The enemy team has 80 carries, and 80 carries are busted. And you see, he takes a lot of damage. And if he makes a mistake, he still dies. Which is everything you have to keep in mind. Like, Aatrox isn't a champion you can just walk in, fight 5 people, and win. Only if they like clump up, you're not hacker him. And again, his teammate is getting some cooldowns, dying for fun for no reason, running down mid lane while he was pillaging the enemy jungle. There's massive wave on the bottom half of the map, but the enemy steps up and he just punishes them instantly. But let's just go back for a second and talk about something on the minimap. Like right now, there's no purpose of doing anything here. Like there's nothing. So he goes in here, he takes this, his teammates shouldn't be dancing around here, they should be thinking, okay, what can we take here, what can we take here, can we really force this? Not really reliably, it's too difficult to get in there, so why not just pillage the entire enemy jungle, set up side waves, collect this, reset, set up this, get this because the enemy can't fight us, and then we just end the game. But, well, they're just enjoying their time a little bit too much. They're walking up. Twisted Face probably just flashes forward, gold card somebody, sends him into the Shadow Realm. Kai'Sa ults after. Like, all this has been seen on the minimap. And this happened for no reason. Like, all of this didn't serve any purpose. And here he's waiting. We didn't talk about this for a second. Here. He's using his teammate as a bait. Like, there's a line of no return. He has ultimate again, he has his E in a few seconds, he can yeet over the wall, he has a Yuumi, he can chase them down. Like, if they leave their protection of their base, he can just kill them for free. Like, he walks up, yeet, he goes out there, one taps the Darius nearly, absolutely blasted, doesn't want to get locked down by the Twisted Fate, realizes this, yeets out, hides for another second, maybe the enemy makes another mistake, now goes into the enemy jungle to pillage again. Realize, 10 seconds of waiting, is this really an option I should do? And then this little snitch Poro. I hate this Poro, it should really not be in the game. Looking for enemies, the enemy could potentially collapse on him, but it's more likely that they're going for the Akali on the other side of the map. He'll clear the mid wave very fast, so the enemy loses something in return because he can't get to that play fast enough anyway, and now you observe the situation if the enemy is going for Nashor. If the enemy doesn't go for Nashor, you can just freely clear this, recall, get 1 billion gold, and if the enemy goes for Nashor, he can just go there and kill them. Like, he sees. Even though they were not spotted, like, let's just break it down again, okay? So let's go for the indicators. You see? We see her for a brief moment walking up very close. He pans the camera up there. You saw these projectiles here? Flying left, right? There's something happening. Even though you don't see it, there's something happening. So he knows this, he goes, he'll probably pop even ult a little bit early to just go in there. Okay, they stop doing it. He clears the vision, he goes over, he thinks they're behind this, and he just had enough. He doesn't want his team, he doesn't need his team, and the Kai'Sa beautifully dodged his spell, but it just isn't enough. He just has too much damage, he's too ahead, and he has so much gold in his inventory. Like, every mistake of an unorganized team into Aatrox, when they don't have good CC and not paying attention with their crowd control, is just absolutely deadly. Like, the majority of his gold lead is still in his inventory, and he still did that to them. Also, obviously the Yuumi did the part. And now his team is like, maybe we could do Nashor, but apparently we don't want to. So, to just be efficient, he just quickly clears the Kruk camp because his teammates were still not moving, and now he's going back to Nashor. His AD carry is completely oblivious as to what has happened on the map, enjoyed some farming, gets a Scholar Crab, enjoys his life, and this man has a literal fortune in his inventory. He's the Elon Musk of the WildRift, being too rich, enjoying robotics too much, and about to fucking launch into space with his Aatrox. And this is one of the beauties you have when you are like a fed lethality Aatrox. You just instantly kill camps. You just yeet there, you pop them, you yeet there again, you pop them, and it's just Jover. He even goes for the Divine just to have some more survivability, and he picks up the QSS as expected. So here, let's briefly take a look at the build. So we have it like framed here. It's Yuma's Ghost Blade. He rushed this item. This was his first item. This was the second. This was the third, fourth. And well, he bought these 2 items, 5th, 6th, and then he went for QSS. So yeah, just so you know. And the Divine Sundra is only to give him more HP, more ability haste, and some more survivability during fights. Because it's a typical discussion of having enough damage versus survivability. Because what does it matter if you deal 10% more damage but have 50% less life? Enemy walks up slightly, He just completely explodes them, but he still takes so much damage. Like, you see, 80 carries are crazy. He might even die here if there's a slight mistake. No, he lives. I think this was all due to the virtue of Yuumi, his ultimate, and Divine. But yeah, it was still close. And you see, his teammates aren't really helping. Like, his best teammate right now is the Yuumi just sitting on him and enjoying her time. Going for the third dragon, securing the Dragon Soul, which, like, in this game it shouldn't even matter, but his teammates are just not even playing. Secures the soul, he has the Mountain Soul, doesn't really help him too much in this game, just makes him slightly tankier. And if you're the only person really playing, sadly souls also don't do too much to you. Like, no soul in this game will make a difference for him. Like, he will still just one-tap them. If anything, Mountain Soul is quite nice to have because it's just a slight increase of tankiness, but you see, he just doesn't care. Like, having Mountain Soul or not having Mountain Soul has made no difference at all in the entirety of the game. All the dragon stats so far has made no difference to the entirety of the game, and he just completely blasts them into Narnia. As you see, he just showed a very interesting approach of how to clear jungle in the early game, where he wants to sync up his camp with his red buff start. You can do so if you want to, the other Croc start also still applies. Another thing he also did very well was looking for engagements, waiting for his ultimate, stealing away things, and I think one of the biggest takeaways in this game is that he realized that the enemy cannot take Herald fast enough, so he gets both Dragon and Herald because the enemy simply cannot fight him. And then again, making sure he does the best things possible. The things I didn't like was him not clearing waves in an instant, even though he has time for it. So I think that could have been done better for his team to just be in even a better position because he takes away enemy resources. But other than this, magnificent play. Take a look at the build, leave a comment, subscribe to this channel, and enjoy your time in WildRift. Thank you all for watching, and see you soon.